Welcome everybody to the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast. Your home for all wrestling, everything wrestling. Oh, no Soto. Henry, what's going on, kid?
What's up, man? It's been a couple weeks since I've been here. What's going on?
You know, same old, same old. Weekends here. Got a little wrestling to talk about. You know, ain't nothing
We
wrong
got a
about
lot of
that,
we got a
right?
lot of wrestling to talk about. I mean, there's been so much going on. Obviously, for our listeners, we weren't live last week. It was a pretty dead week, so we decided to take a week off.
So, and now we are active now. So let's get right into it. Actually, first and foremost, happy Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Appreciate it.
And I know Rikishi's somewhere in the wrestling world happy about this. The sons are known being bullied by the bigger cousin. The bloodline looks like it's now over with. Jay has finally turned his back on Roman and the rest of the bloodline.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it coming. I just thought some of the lines were just epic. I was watching it live. I was just like, "Holy shit!" When it actually happened, especially with the super kick. He's like, "I'm out," and he just
Yeah.
kicked him right in the face. And then
Oh
Paul
shit.
Heyman just sells it the way he does with being a snake, and Solo's just like speechless, looking like he's about to attack, and he just gets super kicked. And then Roman gets super kicked again, double super kicked. Basically, like, nope, we're done. It's like a Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat finisher.
So it's just this is just like
Great storytelling, though. I would tell you
yeah.
that.
We're nearing the end, and this is just another step closer to the end. Nothing much really to talk about this.
I would say we're probably in about maybe bottom of the sixth. I think
Yeah,
bottom of the ninth would be Roman losing the title.
yeah,
I think
but it's gonna happen. He's gonna drop a belt at some point. Like
I
it's
think
only a
it's going
matter
to
of
happen at the
time.
next WrestleMania. I think he's probably going to pass a lot of modern day records, and then it's going to end there. I could see him. I don't know. Is it possible he passes Hulk Hogan by WrestleMania next year or no?
I would love to see him pass Hogan because you know it's Hulk Hogan, but we'll see. We That's a month to month thing. We'll see what his matchups equate to.
I would
Because now
say
you're gonna
this
see
after he
you're
gets
gonna
after whatever
see,
breaker breaks, he's going to get a long break, so we won't see Roman for a while after he loses.
which is okay, but you're due for it. He's been
He's going
carrying
to come
for a
back as a
long
face.
time.
He's going to come back as a face, though. I think this time around, I don't think he'll be a heel again. Even though he's done wonderful work, but I think the heel work is going to make him a better face in the long run. So
Well, yeah, you know how to develop so much heat. You could use that for a good transition to be a good face. So
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. It's gonna be interesting to see how this ends. Now we're at the
mhm.
back end of everything, so it's the final stretch. So let's see how
Yeah,
long this actually takes for it to be the end of the line altogether, and what
exactly.
a enigmatic and spectacular run that this
I,
was.
I think it was a good run because, I mean, for the bloodline to go on as long as it did, as many years as has gone on, and then for them to just sort of go into all out civil war is basically awesome. And we know we're going to get the tag team match of Roman and Solo versus the Usos down the line. And hey, down the line, we might get a main event Jay and main event Jimmy versus Roman or Solo. So, I mean, that's going to happen. But there is one more thing I know. Soto has been waiting on it. So also you and myself as well is when is Solo going to return?
We'll see. I think that the you know he sees everything, and he's the one that's been he's probably the loudest in the room because he's the most quiet. If you want to think about it that way, so it's all a matter
Yeah,
of time before you actually fuck this, I'm out.
I mean, yeah,
It,
exactly.
it, it just it makes all the sense. He's absorbing everything and just like, okay, no problem.
Well, it's gonna
But
get. He's gonna have to
this
get
is
to
the
that
third.
point that he got the Usos to where they got tired of Roman shit, and he's just gonna do the Samoan Spike, and that's gonna be it.
Well, you didn't seem outside of that one argument a couple of months ago. You didn't seem really, you know, any Roman doing anything. You ever seen Roman and Solo going at it? That happened one time, and that was it. So
So
now maybe there'll be more going forward. You don't know yet. So
I
we'll
feel
just see how
like
that goes.
this storyline brings back so many memories of like different anime shows I've watched, where a good guy turns into a bad guy and then turns into a good guy again. But it's
Mm.
just unfolding in real life with real life stories and different things, and it's so good. I mean, if we're in the sixth inning, bottom of the sixth, top six, whatever it may be, like I'm curious to see. what the rest of the innings are going to be, because it's going to be a great storyline. Period.
Yeah,
It's going to be one
we'll
of the
see. We'll see how this goes. It's more. It's more or less this onion. We have to see. We have to peel out.
yeah. And anyway, speaking of turning, we have Bianca Belair's heel turn has been teased the last couple weeks, along with the Street Profits.
Yeah, it's becoming that time. mean, I don't know how Bianca's going to be as a heel. I know she probably be great as a heel because they're a great face,
Well,
and
she
they
was a
have
great
the
heel in
ability to do so.
NXT, so I mean, it was just natural for her. But I think they're hesitant to turn her heel because they feel like the John Cena effect with her, that she's so over with the kids and different things like that. But so was Roman, and look how it helped his career.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't be hesitant to turn somebody heel and feels like it's going to affect them. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You do it for a couple months and you turn them back face, a slow build. It is what it is. You can mess up a character, but you can't mess up a person's momentum and make the fans, cheer them again. It's not
yeah.
it's not unheard of in the wrestling business.
So we'll see. I mean, we got first. You got to see how everything pans out, and then once you see the bigger picture, and then you see everybody inputs himself in there. So you got to see how Sheehan's going to look because they're going to be there first,
Right.
or Bianca's going to be the ones to like, yo, we're going to do this, or I'm turning heel, and then you see Street Profits. Yeah, we're heel now too.
Well, is she
And
going
it's
to align
like,
with the Street Profits? That's the question, because everybody's saying that she's turning heel, but also the Street Profits. So do you think they form sort of like a group
yes,
with together?
yes,
Where
it
she
makes
joins
perfect sense.
where she joins the Street Profits and they're a heel group?
Yeah,
Sort of like the New
it makes
Day.
all the sense in the world because you could turn them face as well. A year or two down the line,
Mm-hmm.
and then now they're a face group, which they were so over in the first place. Now you're adding
Yeah,
Bianca to
but you
that.
see the reaction. You see how the Street Profits have been acting when they're losing and their reactions lately. So, they're going to get tired of that too. So, I mean, it's interesting. I think WWE shouldn't hold back and just pull the trigger. What's the worst that's going to happen?
So I mean, it could be as well. That could be the case where like, oh, why not? Why don't you? Who says
Yeah.
no?
And you just hear it from Bianca's tone yesterday on her promo. She's mad that she didn't get the title shot, but Charlotte made some good points too. She never got her rematch either. So I mean, Bianca's like, I'm going to get my shot whether you like it or not. So that's not something a face would say, obviously. But she's not acting like a heel yet, so she hasn't fully turned. And if we know
Right.
her NXT thing, her NXT days, we know she was a heel there, and she was a pretty good heel. So she could do the character. We go back to Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, another one who was always a heel, became a face heel. So it can be done. It just takes time.
Yeah, let this grow a little bit, and then you could have the conversation when it actually does happen. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when it becomes something that's more legitimate.
I feel like there's so much turning going on in wrestling lately, especially WWE, which leads us into another rumored turn, which is Io Sky has been rumored to turn face and obviously feud with Bailey, which would basically end Damage Control because nobody is going to really know what's going to happen with Damage Control, if Dakota Kai is going to come back as a heel or if she's going to be a face, which fans have been clamoring for her to go back with Raquel and form a tag team again. So, I mean, I'm just interested to see because we all watched the Puerto Rico pay-per-view Backlash, which was fire.
Yeah,
The
completely
fans
epic.
the fans were insane. That was probably one of the top 5 pay-per-views this year in terms of fan reaction. I'm gonna say, and I say top 5 this year. I didn't say top 5 all the time. I said top 5 this year because of just the fans, how involved we were. But did you see how Io Sky was cheered during her match? Obviously, that was a big indicator to the higher ups that we have something here. And I don't know well, I know you probably haven't, but other people haven't noticed. Have you seen a lot of the Asian wrestlers' English has gotten better? If you look at Shinsuke, his English
Well,
has
when
improved
you
a
when you have
lot.
that time off, you get that. So it's like for them,
Even Io's English has gotten a lot better. Oscar can speak a lot more English. So I give, fans give a lot of Asian wrestlers shit because they don't try to adopt the customs and learn the language and different things like that. But it's whatever they feel comfortable with, they could speak. However, if they learn the English, kudos to them. If they don't, it is what it is. You get over other ways. You don't got to learn to speak in order to be over in wrestling. We know this as diehard wrestling fans. There's wrestlers that can't speak for shit, but they were over.
Very
Look at
true.
if we look at wrestlers from the '80s and early '90s, Ultimate
A lot
Warrior.
of those they just
His
couldn't
his
speak at
promos
all.
his promos were out of the world, but it drew fans in. Like
Hmm.
it's just for me, it's just like I'm happy to see that their English is improving and they're going that route, but their body of work is par none. You talk about Io Sky, Shinsuke, and Asuka, amazing wrestlers. Period. I'm curious to see what Io would do by herself,
We'll see.
and I'm curious. Do you think Do you think Bailey will eventually turn back to being face, or do you think she's still going to be the heel? Because I feel like she's
She'll
lost.
probably
She's
ride
lost a lot
being
of.
heel for a while. It just doesn't make sense to turn her face now because
She's lost a lot of momentum though.
If Io goes face, there's no point for Bailey to go face.
Well, it depends too, because what if they say that the rumored feud with Bailey is going to last a couple months? So what if at let's say SummerSlam or whatever pay per view in the future, Dakota comes back and something happens with Io that she aligns herself with Io obviously, but then turned on her, and then later on they both realized they were wrong. Because think about it, Damage Control was white hot when they first came out. They were winning everything. They were doing stuff, and they just had this epic downfall where they pretty much destroyed their whole group because they've gone ice cold.
Yeah,
If you think about it, it's like betting, sports betting. You can have your days where you go hot and you can hit almost every day, and then you have your days where you just ice cold. You can't win shit. That's how they went, realistically.
yeah. No, that makes sense.
It sucks, but I mean, I'm curious to see, Money in the Bank. Are we going to get Io Sky possibly becoming the number one, person to win the Money in the Bank? Because there's
The
rumors that she's going to dethrone Asuka at some point. So that's interesting too.
no, what's gonna happen is
And listen, they're comic gold. Those two, Asuka and Io together is comic.
Io is gonna go for the belt, like go for the briefcase, and Bailey's gonna ruin it. Some
It
way,
could,
somehow, Bailey's gonna ruin that opportunity, and that's what Io's gonna turn the next night.
it could, but
If they
realistically,
do it, if they do it now, that's what's gonna happen.
who do we see winning the women's Money in the Bank though? They're not gonna. I don't know if they're gonna go Zelina again. That's the
I
question.
don't know.
Like the only logical person in that match would be Io. Remember, Bailey might lose her spot.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. We got a week for that. We can figure that out later on. That's
yeah, like I said, it's been a lot of confusing booking this week, which leads me to our next topic of LA Knight and Karrion Cross, among others, confusing bookings. Where do you think they're going and their direction is with the bookings with LA Knight, Karrion Cross, and Co? Because for me, it seems like all over the place. Karrion Cross is getting a shit ton of losses. LA Knight gets wins, he gets white hot, then he loses, and it's just been all over the place, in my opinion. Too much for my liking.
Yeah, I don't know. Cross, I think Cross is called with not having a definitive answer. LA Knight, I think it wasn't. Kevin Cross, his problem is that he just wasn't given a shot. Um, for LA Knight, I think it was WWE missed the boat on his initial
Right.
start. You had a lot of opportunity to do so, and then you just didn't do it.
I
Like you
don't
had
see
the
him
Bray
winning Money in
Wyatt.
the Bank
You should
anymore.
have kept going with the Bray Wyatt feud. You should have kept going because
Well,
you give him run.
speaking of that, there's rumors he's coming back too. And he was another one too. The booking was very confusing for him. Nobody knew the direction of him, Uncle Howdy, who they were going after. He was going after Lashley. Obviously, he had the illness, and I hope he's doing better. And he'll be back soon. But again, like booking's just been so inconsistent with guys that were so over or different things. Karrion Cross at NXT was ridiculous. Let's be honest. LA Knight was over.
And they
Bray
had him
Wyatt.
going, which was fine, but you stopped. So
Exactly.
you missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, and then now my leaning is, and I don't know if you agree with me now, but I don't think he's going to win the Money in the Bank. I think the person that's going to win the Money in the Bank is going to be Damian Priest.
It would be nice to see LA Knight win it. It could be Priest. It could be.
I
I,
think
I
they're
gotta
going
wait.
to.
I had my ideas before. My way too early predictions with Soto a couple weeks
I think
ago.
I see him getting. I see Damian Priest getting pushed to the moon. I think he's going to leave Judgment Day. I'm going to go on Soto's prediction. I think he'll eventually leave Judgment Day, and I think JD will take his place. But that's for another day, another time. But
Yeah.
again, confusing booking. Like it's just, I get it. It happens in wrestling business. Obviously, there's going to be things we don't like and things we like. But for me, I think they need to get some clarity on what they're doing and what direction they're going.
Yeah. Yeah, wait. Well, it's not looking too good for them, but at the same time, it's just like, all right, well,
Yeah.
oh well. We're here now, so you got to wait. Money in the Bank, after you'll see a deciding factor of what's going to be and what's not going to be.
Yep. We'll do our preview next week for that as well for those who are listening. And speaking of confusing pushes, we're going to move on to NXT because obviously we've had a lot of confused bookings, but now I see what they're trying to do with the younger stars. So Thea Hale getting a push.
Go for her.
They're pushing younger wrestlers, which I like, to try to build up stars and establish stars, which is what the roster needs. If you realistically think about it,
you need some people to step up. So you give an opportunity to people who they okay, you know what, try her, try him, try this person, try that tag group, try that faction.
she's isn't she the youngest number one contender ever? I believe she's like 18 or 19.
I don't know about the youngest. She could be.
I think she's the youngest number one contender ever. She might be. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, she has that submission move that's almost like similar, not similar, but like a submission move similar like a Ivy, where she basically goes into the mixed martial arts type finishing move. And we saw her beat Tatum,
So
which was, I mean,
I'll wait.
and Cora. She beat Cora. She beat Cora, bro. Cora's
Yeah.
been over for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know why Cora's still down there, but
I
the
think
fact that she still is, and the fact that she took a loss to Thea, I was like, yeah,
I think Cora's coming up soon, along with Braun. I think I could see Cora having a situation where Bianca never won the title in NXT. I know that for a fact. Correct me if I'm wrong, B. Did she ever win the NXT Women's Championship?
I'll take a look now.
I don't think she ever did. But I could see Cora Jade being the person that she never wins the title in NXT and goes up to the main roster and dominates and wins a couple of titles on the main roster, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. I know that for a fact. But speaking of Thea Hale's push, I think, again, pushing the younger stars is the way to go. You got Thea Hale. You got
Never
Tiffany
won.
Stratton. Okay, so yeah. So we could get a situation where Cora goes up to the roster, never wins, and wins the title on the main roster, just like Bianca did. So that would, do wonders for her career, to be honest. But I'm all for the push for Thea Hale. AEW did the same thing with a wrestler. We'll get into that obviously later on, but they took a play out of WWE's playbook too. If you didn't, a lot of fans didn't catch that, they did the same thing WWE did. Now, speaking of Thea Hale being the number one contender, we also have a new number one contender for the NXT Championship, and I don't know how a lot of people feel about it, but I'm curious how you feel about it, B.
What we got? New number. So I have my reservations about the NXT title. Because you have 1,001 options for the title, and then what you can do and what you can do. My problem is Baron Corbin.
Yeah,
this is what you can do now. Like, are you giving him a belt for?
I don't know.
NXT?
I don't think they're gonna make Carmelo lose to him.
Doesn't matter though. You have you have a whole bunch of options for it. Like, you have options to pick and choose what you want to do. But
I think this is more of a reset for Corbin. I think he's gonna get so mad he's losing and doing this and doing. I think they're trying to tease him going back to his lone wolf gimmick, which I know a lot of fans want, but I think they should try something different with him. Because obviously, if anybody who follows him on TikTok, he's funny as hell. Like, why not turn him face and have him do something different? Yes, I know Corbin's one of those people that's a natural heel, like the Miz and different things like that. But you got to try it before, obviously, different things happen. That's just my opinion. Like, yeah, I get it. You're taking away opportunities from other people on NXT who can be in the title picture. But realistically, who has been feuding with Carmelo besides Braun recently? Or who's white hot like that in NXT that they're, going to put in the number one contender match?
Right.
Because you think about it, Ilya is pretty much on his way out. The rumor is he's joining Imperium, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to give him Trick Williams because that's his boy. Joe Gacy?
Could be.
Wesley? He's been hot.
No, I think Joey Gacy probably the next matchup would be another option. I don't think Wesley yet.
Or if you want to go down the big route for a name you've been building up for a long time, you got the theme song of the look, Dragon Lee. Versus
that's
him.
a possibility.
I mean, yeah, but again, you would have to build it up. But I mean, I'm not too keen on Corbin. In the words of Pat McAfee, bitch ass Corbin. So I mean,
we'll see. It's just like
we'll see. I mean, Corbin's a great worker, so I'm not going to knock him for that. So he does what he needs to do, and he gets the results from the matches. So we'll go there. But speaking of NXT, obviously this one's going to be a banger when it happens. Seth Rollins is coming back to NXT.
So he's there for a good time, not a long time. So he's going to give somebody down there some run. Is there an oversight? It's the same way as when back in OVW years ago, where you had the three of the greatest prospects in 1 year, when it was Orton, Cena, and Batista, or Orton, Cena, Lesnar, and Batista. Who
was that class? It was Orton, Cena, Lesnar, and Shelton Benjamin too. Don't forget.
Well, he wasn't there. Like, he wasn't the top yet. He was up there, but he wasn't like the top. The top four.
And then you had Batista, aka Leviathan.
Yeah, there was those four: Batista, Cena, Orton, and Lesnar.
Yep.
And you had points where you had Big Show and Batista wrestle each other. As you just wrestled on at the Rumble, and now you're in OVW working out, Batista. Then you had Orton. You had Mark Henry and Orton. You had Undertaker and Lesnar. You had guys come down to wrestle, one-time show to see what you got as a litmus test. So if this actually does happen with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins, which everybody wants to see, or whoever it may be, for Seth Rollins to hang out down there and do whatever, you'll have, this will be like, all right, is this time for him to come up, whoever it may be. Yeah. So if it works out, it works out. If not, he just stay down there for a little while longer.
Obviously, he's not losing the title to Braun.
No, but it's a test.
It's gonna be a banger match, and I think this is Braun's way of sort of going up to the main roster at some point.
Right.
I think they're teasing that he's gonna try to feud for the title when he goes up, and why not? You got to shoot for the moon.
I'm not opposed to it.
You got to shoot for the moon if you're going to go up to the main roster.
Yeah, I'm not.
I see him going up to the roster as a heel too. It's going to be an interesting couple months for the main roster and NXT, because we're going to see a lot of people going up, coming down, having new characters, different things like that, which I'm going to piggyback off this and lead into this next one, which is Roxanne Perez's new Edge.
She's not coming up yet. So if she's not coming up yet, then might as well try something new.
Yes. I agree. Give her character a little bit more personality. Obviously, she's getting pissed off about Blair, blindsiding her and crossing her and everything like that. And,
yeah, so just try something different now.
I mean, they need to, because a lot of fans have been clamoring. Her ring skills are basically ready for the roster. Par none.
Well, people complain about her mic skills as well. So.
Well, yeah, her mic skills is the main issue holding her back. So if she can get an edge to her character and do something different, definitely kudos to her, and that'll help her out and get her ready for the roster. And the only thing I will knock Roxanne Perez for is they gotta adjust that finisher, man, because that finisher is just I don't
You don't
know.
like it?
No, it's a hard finisher to sell. Like it's just, it doesn't have any like
Yeah,
it
kind of.
doesn't have the boom to it, like the powerful, like the RKO out of nowhere or the Stone Cold Stunner. I'm not gonna say it's as bad as like a Hogan leg drop or a Warrior Splash, but I would say it's like in the middle of being pretty bad.
Okay.
Like if she did it like Panama Sunrise, where he jumps off the rope and then does the flip like that, where it's more powerful and you have momentum, it would be great. But the problem is she's just really climbing on the back and flipping him for a pin.
Right.
I don't know if she needs something more. Like if she's gonna do new edge, maybe adopt something new as well, and maybe make that more of her signature move, like the pop rocks, and then add something new as an element to her. I know Soda's
Right.
probably like, probably wants to kill me because I'm talking bad about Roxanne Perez right now, but that's just how I see
Hey man, listen. We can talk about whatever. You will deal with the consequences of Soto when he gets back.
it. Yeah,
So
he's probably going.
that's on you. It's okay. There's a lot more work to do, but I'm not gonna shut her the way you are. But who am
Nah,
I? You'll deal with our partner.
nah. But like I said, wrestling wise, she's ready for the roster. Mike wise, she needs more work, and I think giving her a new edge, I agree, will help with that. So I think that's the way they need to go, in my honest opinion, and I think it'll be a good thing for her and her longevity. So obviously tonight is AEW Collisions shifting over to AEW. So we got a preview of what's going on, obviously, tonight for AEW Collision. So matches we got are Jay White, Samoa Joe, and Juice Robinson versus CM Punk and FTR. We have Wardlow versus Luchasaurus for the TNT Championship. We have Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale versus Tony Storm and Ruby Soho. And we have Buddy Matthews versus Andrade. And we also have Miro is going to be competing as well against whoever. I guess maybe a squash match or something along the lines of that, or maybe a new debuting person. I don't really know. So, what do you think of this card, and what do you
Whatever
think
the
is going to
case
happen?
may be, I have no complaints whatsoever because it's a new show.
Right.
You can't get mad at how the show looks. You complain, oh, this show sucks, or this show we need more stuff. All of a sudden, it's a great show. And oh, I knew this was great. Like, you can't do that. Like, absolutely not. So I'm gonna keep it simple as is. Um, I'm all for. I'm all for Luchasaurus. I've always enjoyed his work. He's one of the better bigs in wrestling today.
Funny, he was
So
at
him
WWE.
and
They let him go.
what?
WWE had him and let him go.
Hey man, people make decisions, but it is what it is.
That was Mister People Power.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I'm not.
but it's going to be a good show. I'm curious to see how CM Punk looks with all his months off and how he meshes well with some of the wrestlers. Obviously, the next topic we get into is going to touch on some of that stuff. But I'm curious. I want to see Andrade. Well, he hasn't been wrestled in months. Miro.
Miro's finally back. Yeah, Andrade gets his shot again, and it's like go against Buddy Matthews. That's a good matchup. Like
That's gonna be a
for
great
those
matchup.
Buddy
That's
Matthews.
probably gonna be one of those underrated matchups in the show.
Yeah. So between that, I want to see Punk back. So I'm excited to see
Yeah.
Punk.
And you got the tag team match, which we'll get into why that tag team match came together, and what's happening. Obviously, that's Willow and Sky Blue, and then we got a lot of other things obviously going to happen on the show because I'm sure we're going
A
to
lot of
get
promo work's gonna happen.
we're going to get
A
Chris
lot of stuff's
Jericho.
gonna be in between because they have to set up a lot of stuff. So we'll see.
We'll see.
It's gonna be enjoyable.
Yeah. And now, speaking of enjoyable and things that are going on, CM Punk's ESPN interview obviously came out. We got to talk about that one.
That's fine with me. I see nothing wrong about it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong. I think CM Punk's problem is a lot of times is the words he says. I think he has a poor choice of words sometimes.
A lot of people have
Granted,
that problem.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they do. But I think it's just his choice of words and how he said things. Like he was talking about Adam Page, Hangman. Obviously, I don't know if he was sort of doing shoot or it's a work. I know he said that he's apologized to Tony Khan about the scrum and handled it differently. Obviously, he reached out to the elite and he wants to squash stuff, but they want nothing to do with him.
That's okay.
But
That's
but
that's
obviously,
that's not on him now. He came
there's
out and said,
lawyers.
"I want to squash things." The first thing he did, he said he went to Tony. He was like, "Yo, I messed up. I put you in a really bad position. I apologize for it."
The lawyers obviously don't want him to do anything either. So that's
we've all spoken about this already. Like I said, I was like, "Yeah, he said what he said, and you can tell you probably apologize for it, but it's not on them now to." He did his part.
Yeah,
he apologized. And now he came out in public and said it too. Like, I went to Tony. I was like, I made a mistake. Like,
yeah, and that's the main thing. We never knew that part came out, that he went to Tony and apologized for what he did. I mean, that was the right thing to do because he needed to apologize because obviously that whole situation was very bad publicity for AEW.
And here's some quotes you got here. And I didn't, and I quote, "And I just didn't approach it in the right manner, but tension was high. I was very, very pissed. I pretty much knew that I had just injured myself again. I was hurt and I was disappointed. Yeah, it was very easy for me to say I regret that, and I handled it the wrong way 100%.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I proceed to have what I think is a garbage match because I'm trying to put myself on stuff instead of actually just working and trying to put on the best performance I can. I'm keeping an eye out. He chopped me in the mouth one time. I'm like, okay, do you do it on purpose? You chipped my tooth. I'm like, all right, should I give him a receipt? It changed the dynamic. It poisoned everything for me, and it made it all really, really, really ugly. And that was what set all this off. And here we are over a year later, and ain't shit been done about it. So, but he's explaining his side. Nobody knew what I said before when y'all were all well, Punk, get him out of here. I was like, yo, like, you guys know absolutely nothing. We don't know absolutely nothing. So
yeah, he couldn't really say. From what I was told, and I was told by other people, like I asked around, and I heard and I read and different things. He wasn't really allowed to speak on it because of the lawyers. The lawyers wanted nobody to really say.
But whose fault is that? You know what I'm saying? Like the whole back and forth was this, that, and third, but it was just like. So you're not gonna hear his side. You're just gonna say what's here. Oh, that's it. We're done. Like,
yeah.
No, wait for things to come out and then have the conversation. Because now you just throwing shit in the air, act like you know something when you don't.
Yeah.
But now Punk came on and said what he said. So now whatever you thought was gonna be it became what it was. So okay. So he fell away during this match. Things didn't go a certain way. There was a conversation. Conversation went nowhere, and then he went to the scrum and did what he did.
Somebody
said after the fact when the dust settled, which was like 3 weeks later, it was, I messed up. I'm sorry.
And speaking of CM Punk thing, somebody said an idea after the ESPN interview is that, he's going to align himself with FTR because obviously those are some of his close friends.
Smart.
But what if he also aligns himself with the Bullet Club?
What would be the reason for the Bullet Club?
Something fresh, something new.
Could be. Why not?
Yeah. So, but moving on, speaking of other feuds, obviously we touched on the Collision preview. We had Sky Blue versus Tony Storm feud. Obviously, this was
the real
obviously this was AEW's counter to WWE pushing Thea Hale, which they push Tony Storm. Sky Blue. So obviously they're trying to give Tony Storm credibility for her title run because obviously a lot of fans were pissed off for her first run that she was called intern champ and she wasn't really given the champ label, so now she actually has the championship. And we know WWE dropped the ball with Tony Storm, obviously. We're not going to deny that. But as we learned in wrestling, sometimes wrestlers need to get away from WWE in order to really shine and then come back and do their thing. So we got to think about it like that. Like a lot of these wrestlers, they say never say never. It's the truth. And I'm going to say that for CM Punk too. Never say never with CM Punk and WWE. Because guess what? He was shown on the picture for the longest champ, one of the longest champs in modern day era. They showed his picture and everything. He's not in bad graces of WWE no more. Let's put it like that. So, right. I mean, but it's interesting that AEW is pushing Sky Blue. So she's been there for a long time. She was one of those that she wasn't all elite. She was sort of like an independent wrestler for a while where she was signed to contract. So, I mean, she's been improving. Another one that's been in and out of matches. So I'm for it. I mean, it's a fresh feud, fresh person in the title picture. Um, do I think she has a chance of winning? Probably not, because I think they're not going to take the belt off Tony Storm anytime soon, unless Jamie Hayter comes back.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being the only person that takes it off her. But I was shocked, but I sort of knew it when she got the number one contender because I was like Britt Baker's not going to win because Britt Baker did an interview where she said she wants to help put over other wrestlers and give them a chance to shine. So I was like, she's not going to win. And the other wrestler, I said the only other person that I think would win, my thinking was Sky Blue because they're going to counter WWE having Thea Hale. You're going to have a young wrestler be the number one contender. So why
Right.
not? Like, why not counter WWE? And then obviously that led to Sky Blue getting beat down and Willow Nightingale coming in to with the save, leading to the tag team match that's going to be on Collision.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be an interesting feud because I could see somehow Willow getting inserted into the title picture, and we know she's a champion as well. Promotion maybe going after Tony Storm too. But like I said, I don't see Tony Storm losing the belt anytime soon, unless it's to a Jamie Hayter, which she deserves a longer reign, obviously when she comes back. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna throw another name out there for just for the podcast, Jade Cargill
So,
coming back as a face, not a heel.
I'm with that. I just don't think now's the time.
No, I think she's taking a couple months off to do a couple things.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her at least 3 months before she comes back, and then starting like come for a save. But
Yep.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, because I like to see Jade back in the picture, and now because it's funny now that she leaves
Right.
for a little bit. Now AEW is getting a crop of good female talent.
Right.
So now it's time to bring her back in, but she just lost after going 62
Well,
and
yeah.
0,
You got
61 and 0.
they're pushing Sky Blue. There was rumors of Mercedes before she got her injury coming in. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's a
So it's
lot, a
like,
lot of different things going on in AEW, but positive thing. I think they're building their women's division up pretty good lately. I'm not going to complain. I think it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. So we'll see what happens with this feud. Obviously, I think it's going to be a little bit of long term feud. I don't think
mhm.
this feud is going to be over. Obviously, Sky Blue was putting on a match for Tony Storm, so I'd say they probably go again at it. When I
Right.
don't know, but speaking of feuds, let's move on to the next feud. Adam Cole.
Anything is better. I've gotten to notice. I'll jump right into it. People who join into Jericho's feuds don't come out the same. And I'm not talking about like their ability to play.
Yeah.
It's more or to compete. It's more so their ability to like be a better wrestler. Like I feel like Adam Cole got worse as a wrestler leaving Jericho stuff. If that kind of makes any sense.
Uh, a lot of fans have been saying stuff about Jericho. I just don't see it yet. They're like he should retire. A lot of wrestlers have taken negative impact with fighting him. I just don't see it because Jericho is always Jericho. Let's be honest.
Right.
But my thing is, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like when you fight Jericho, there's something is like lost for the wrestler, and I don't know
Yeah.
why that's happening lately. It's just weird.
It's no knock to Jericho. Like it's just Adam Cole is at a way better.
Maybe it's just a book. Maybe it's just a booking
Cause
of the
it's
match.
probably that something anything with Jericho. Like now it seems like because Adam Cole came back, it was great, right? And now I feel like he lost some of his luster as a wrestler, as a figure,
Yeah.
than when he first came in. Now it's
Listen,
after the fact.
MJF was throwing them shots out there. He was throwing the carrying cross shots out there for him.
So it's
So,
just like
what did
I
you think
love
of the ending?
Jericho.
What did you think of the ending of MJF and Adams Cole match?
I have no problems. I have no issues with
The
how that
time being out.
started.
Yeah, fans were like, "Oh, it's a draw. Oh, another one of them."
Just
I storytelling.
when it actually matters the most, and probably not Forbidden Door, but probably at the following pay per view. If it's the same thing, it's like yeah, we got a problem.
Do you think MJF is going to lose the title?
Uh,
That's the big question.
no.
No, I think Tony's going to let him hold on to it as long as he can because there's that WWE factor right there knocking on the door. I don't think he's
Yeah.
going to screw him
Wait.
over.
Let him. If that's it, if you go that route, let him resign first. Once he resigns, and then take the belt off of him.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, but you know that'll piss him off though because
That's fine. But you
But
can
you
give
know
him a hundred
MJF is probably
again
going to put
for something else.
MJF is probably going to put. Well, MJF has said it before that he likes the money. So unless they give him a fuck ton of money and say, "Oh, you could do whatever," and that's it, and then he takes the belt off him, I think he would be fine with that. But
Yeah.
MJF is a
Here's
business.
your
He's a
time off.
businessman.
Thank you
He's
for
a
your work.
businessman. He's a businessman. I know MJF is going to have a lot of money. He's probably going to have backouts in his contract or something that he could back out the deal if he doesn't like. MJF's a smart dude.
Yeah.
He's
not
an
dumb.
asshole. We all know that. And
But
he
no
goes
one
off, but he's
cares
smart.
though, because that's MJF. That's the same
Yes,
thing with
and
a
he's
lot
a
of
smart-
people. Like
he's
a
one of the
dick.
smartest dudes in the industry when it comes to everything. Everything he does is calculated.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I would not knock MJF for. So, I mean, and speaking of pay-per-view, since you touched on Forbidden Door, we have the Forbidden Door matches so far. So a lot of these matches, obviously, we were supposed to get Mercedes as one of them, but obviously her injury sort of knocked that out. So I'll go over a preview of some of the matches. So we got Sonata versus Jungle Boy, which is going to be a good one. A lot of people are like it doesn't make sense, but it's gonna be a good one. We got MJF versus Tanahashi for the championship, which MJF just said nope. We got this one I'm looking forward to. Omega versus Ospreay. That's gonna be.
That's gonna be a banger.
There's more. It gets better. Then we got Danielson versus Okada. Oh my god.
Another banger.
That's gonna be. Oh my god. That's just gonna be. Which match are you looking forward to most?
The Omega Osprey. Only because like I've never like everybody talk about Will Osprey, yada yada. Like he's so good. I was like, I've never heard of this guy. And then I started watching him wrestle. I'm like, yo, this guy's fucking amazing. Like, what the fuck? Why haven't I heard about this guy?
He doesn't want to go to WWE for some reason, but I guess
No,
it's
he's gonna be an international sensation.
because I don't think, and I get it. WWE's booking is very, very erratic, and I don't know if he could 100% trust them to book him to be like a dominant, person in there. And I think he's smart because
Right.
same thing with Ibushi. Ibushi sort of said he didn't say no, but he hasn't said yes. We know he's competed in WWE and Ospreay and all of them, but they haven't. They like Triple H, but
Right.
we all know, and you were right about it. Vince McMahon has some say in stuff, so Vince McMahon might not like them. He might bury them. We don't know.
Triple H has the end all be all say, but I'm telling you, Vince is gonna have consistent conversation. The
I
dialogue
will
will
say
still
this:
be there no matter what.
Vince has been better with the booking because obviously Triple H can override him a little bit. But I'm fine if he's just consulting on a remote basis that he's
So
not
it
there
is.
actually.
How you feel about this? Oh, I would do this. Okay, no problem. Doesn't mean you're gonna do it. But it's just
So, since we're going to Forbidden Door matches and we're talking about a little bit of New Japan, what other matches you think are going to be announced that we haven't seen? Like, what are your ideal crossover
Samoa
matches?
Joe gets a match.
Okay, who against who?
I have no idea. FTR gets a match.
Probably against the tag champs.
Yeah.
You got to get a couple women matches in there. Obviously, there's
Tony Storm gets a match.
Tony Storm versus Kyrie.
Could be. Thunder Rosa gets a match.
Who would she face?
I have no idea.
Speaking of-
you could
speaking of-
put them together. You could put
Speaking of
You put
Thunder Rosa,
Tony
she's
Storm
also
and-
she's also coming back too on Collision supposedly as well.
whoever is coming back off injury will get put onto the mat. Here you go. Why not?
It was supposed to be Jamie Hayter was supposed to compete at Forbidden Door against somebody. I don't remember who it was, but her injury threw a big wrench into a lot of things. So, and same thing with Mercedes. I think actually the rumored match that I heard for a long time before, obviously Chris Statlander beat Jade, was supposed to be Mercedes versus Jade
Right.
for the TNT title, and that's who was supposed to end the streak.
Yeah, I think this week This week will be a deciding factor on what you do when it comes to you felt the right. Those matches so far are you confirms like yeah, this is gonna be your top end matches of
They get
Forbidden
so many
Door.
matches because you got Jungle Boy. Let's not forget you also got Sammy Guevara, who doesn't have a match yet. Darby Allin,
Yeah, you can put a whole lot. Sting's retirement's coming
Sting,
soon, so now you have options to have him
Christian,
involved. It's more big match for a money draw. Like, there's a
Christian.
lot
You
of
got
options you could deal with.
Britt
It's just a
Baker.
matter of
Obviously, you cannot have Forbidden Door and not have Britt Baker on the pay per
yeah.
view.
That's another
There's
one.
just so many names.
So it's you know how it is when you're short on matches for a pay per view. The pay per view comes up real soon. Pay per view Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like cool. So how are we going to do this? AJ's okay. Match, and it works out because you have options to work with. It's not like you're
Yeah,
limited. We see this time, and it happened twice with AEW. We said, "Why was this match on the pay per view?" We've been watching WWE all our lives. We've seen that so many times. Like, why was this
right.
match on the pay per view? It could have been Friday night. Could have been Monday night. Could have been a main
Yeah,
event on a regular.
exactly.
So, or you put on the pre-show. Same thing. This should have been a pre-show match, not an actual match, not an actual pay per view match.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the opportunities to have fill-ins and make it work. You're not doubling down, tripling down different things.
Right. Exactly. So we don't have that many matches so far, but obviously there's going to be more added, and we'll touch on that as well because that's getting close. I mean, our next week episode is going to be a doozy because we got Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
We're probably going to have more matches to preview for Forbidden Door. We'll have more matches for our next topic, which is going on to Impact Wrestling. So this is a quick one. There's not really anything to touch on much, but Impact Wrestling loses Jimmy Jacobs, has gone to AEW, but obviously gained Delirious. So technically they lost one to gain one. So I think this will be a good thing for
Lateral
them.
movements.
Yeah. And I say Impact is getting close to having I hope they get a TV deal because I think they're one of the more underrated wrestling products right now.
Uh-huh.
And I think that they shouldn't be, a couple weeks later showing it live. I think in order for them to compete and be taken seriously, they need to be live. And
Yeah,
go from
so
there.
you have
And I get the flexibility they're trying to give the wrestler, but if you're wrestling once or twice a week, you're still having the flexibility. You're just wrestling live.
you could do Paramount. You can do Paramount probably the logical. Stick with the Spike direction.
They should go. Honestly, if they want to be successful, why not go to Paramount Plus? And then Paramount works out a deal with the TV things where it's included with certain TV providers. That way
Yeah.
you get it on there, and then you get Impact on the
It
TVs.
wouldn't hurt them, and then the money's coming in as well.
Yeah. So do something like that. Because wrestling, as we know, WWE's media right deals are up. And they're supposedly trying to get into the streaming biz where obviously they're negotiating with Comcast Xfinity, who has Peacock, which also would be exposure for Peacock and WWE if they got on that. But I think, like you said, the Spike TV Impact would be beneficial to go to Paramount.
That's what they were before. They made all the money at TNA when it was like that. So you might as well go back and get back in touch with
I
those
think realistically,
old
wrestling should be over the air, free for people. It shouldn't be like, you have to pay whatever XYZ money for cable. Because cable, as we know, is pretty much on the decline.
It should be free, but if you don't watch the pay-per-view or any special events, pay for it, which is fine. So if I'm paying $20 a month for Paramount Plus, and I'm getting one pay-per-view a month, which is like $50, I'm okay with that. I can live with that.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, do it like that. So I'm interested to see if Impact goes down that route and says, hey, Paramount, can we get a deal with you where we stream, our pay-per-views on here? $15 a month. You're included with whatever thing, or people pay for it.
Right.
Like Peacock, obviously I have Xfinity because I'm in Pennsylvania. I get Peacock for free. So I get all the pay-per-views included with my bill. And I don't have cable. I have YouTube TV. So I have Peacock for free because I have Xfinity Internet. But obviously, I think realistically, that's the future. Like, why not have wrestling on streaming services. So WWE could stream on something over the air that you don't have to pay a lot of money for, but at the same time can be seen on Peacock every week.
Right.
Or, even AEW, they're partnered with Warner Brothers, right? Which is on Max,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
Max. So why doesn't Max come to them and say, "Hey, let's stream you on here too, and stream you on TV"? Why not double dip? Get more subscribers. Do this. Like, there's so much to go. But Jimmy Jacobs was writing some good stuff for Impact. But Delirious is going to be good too. So I don't think it's a big loss there for Impact. I think AEW gained something valuable, but I also think Impact still is going to be good as well.
Whoever takes the Impact service, more money will be involved, which helps out Impact a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Impact was easily the number 2 in the world when it came to wrestling
Yep.
in the late 2000s, early 10s. And obviously, which happens to a lot of people, bad investments go a long way, and bad investments equal a long term, handicap. And they
Yeah.
got handicapped a lot. It did a lot to them. But we can't forget that it was AJ Styles, Sting, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Hulk Hogan, Booker T, and all these other guys involved. The
Right.
Dudleys were and Christian and all these other folk that got onto Impact when it was TNA.
Yep.
It wasn't great. Rob Van Dam, you know. Can I go on a list even further?
Yeah.
Abyss.
Who's
So,
in WWE now is doing well in WWE too.
yeah, he's a great writer. He's a great producer. So,
Yep.
and now that's when they had money. So now you have no money. Now you're building organic talent, and it starts with
Oh, they got money, but they're not going to invest. They're not going to throw a complete bag at somebody that's just going to tank the company.
yeah.
Now they're smart.
But
They're
they got the
smart.
young indie talents that are AEW cast-offs, WWE cast-offs. So it's like,
Which we're going to get into actually right now, since you mentioned that. So this is our last topic for today. Is an early Slammiversary preview so far. So we only have 3 matches. So we have, well, I should say maybe 2 matches. I should say. We got 3. We have the Impact World Championship: Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis. Obviously, we know Mickey James is coming back. Obviously, if Nick Aldis is there, we got PCO as Scott D'Amore, which is going to be interesting, versus Bully Ray and Steve Maslin. And then finally, we have, speaking of people that WWE dropped the ball with, Deonna Purrazzo versus Trinity.
winning. I'm just going. I mean, I love Trinity. I think she's great, but I'm rock with Deonna Purrazzo.
I don't think she's losing either, but I think it's going to be a hell of a match.
Great match, and it's her first big match since joining Impact.
Notice how Mercedes and Trinity really didn't badmouth WWE, but
They did
there's
nothing
obviously
wrong. They were frustrated. They expressed frustrations. WWE shut the door on them, so they just walked out.
Triple H tried to fix it. He just couldn't. I think it was so severely damaged. Let him take some time off and get it fixed. That'll
That's
be fine.
business. It happens. They make the decisions. Both sides made personal decisions. They made executive decisions on each other, and you move forward. It's
But
okay.
yeah, I think it's going to be I think Deonna Purrazzo is going to win. I don't think there's any chance she loses. I think it's going to be a great match and be some close calls. But it's too early to put the title on Trinity, I think.
Right.
For the PCO and Scott D'Amore match versus Bully Ray, obviously the obvious winners should be Bully Ray and Maslin. But obviously, I think the winners of the match are going to probably be Scott D'Amore and PCO, just for
Could be.
the sakes of the build up. And then obviously the championship match, obviously Alex Shelley versus Nick Aldis. I don't think Nick Aldis is going to win yet. I think they just gave Alex Shelley the championship. And Motor City Machine Guns both have championships now, because one's the X Division champ and the other one's the world champ. So I don't think that they have any chance of losing it that quick. I could be wrong. Nick Aldis is a great wrestler, obviously, but I don't really know what's going to happen. What do you think?
Uh, yeah, about Nick Aldis.
Another one WWE should have signed. Did
Yeah,
not.
that's another one they could have picked up. Didn't do so. It is what it is. Um, enjoy your time at Impact and live it up.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
probably all I have for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much for us to go on with that, but Slammiversary looks like it's going to be an interesting card.
Early, we have a lot more. We have a lot more ideas to pick on. So
Well, it's not to July, so this is an early preview so far and what we honestly think. But after this wraps our episode.
yeah, we are now going to close up. How that will close out. That'll do for today's episode of the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in and week out, showing love, except for last week, obviously, but it's okay. So, for those who don't know, how many of you could? There you go.
Yep, we
If
got
y'all
the link
want
tree.
to check out all our platforms that we use for all our information, we have a link tree up. We have a link tree going. We have everything we need for the link tree. You have Facebook, YouTube at Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast. Check those out. We are there. We are on Twitter at Sunset Flip WP. SFW.podcast is on Twitter. That was for Instagram. We have a whole lot to work with today. So if you want to check us out, all our platforms to listen or view us, we're on YouTube as we are now. Shout out to StreamYard, shout out to Zoom, shout out to everybody else who helps us out get things done. If you want to check us out for our audio, if you can't watch us, you want to listen to us, we are on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, you name it, we're on it. Formerly known as Anchor, we are now known as podcasters. I say we because we joined them and now we're having a great time doing so. If you want to have your own podcast, with this one, Henry has his with Senpai Says TV. If you want your own podcast, formerly known as Anchor, type in podcasters and now linked there. Now joining with Spotify. You can go ahead and sign free and easy. All you need is your email, and you can start your own podcast. And that's all you need to know if you want your own thing. We've been doing this for 3 years strong, having a great time doing so. Hey, how long's your podcast been up for?
I haven't done an episode in a long time, but
You should
probably
do
like
one.
2 years. Yeah, I probably will.
Yeah, well, same thing. So 2 years, 3 years, you can have all the fun we do. So it's been a ride. Love every bit of it, from start to finish. Hit up podcasters. You need something to stream on for help promote your business. Use StreamYard for a small nominal fee. We have this going, and we're able to go all over the place to have shit for us to get things going. That'll do it for us today. Henry, what are you doing for your Father's Day weekend? I know you're gonna be bossing your wife around. I need this. I need that. Wash my car. Clean my feet.
Nah.
Make me my favorite meal.
Nah, probably just relax, man. I mean, the weather's been pretty weird lately, so I don't really know. We've been getting rain and
Yeah, PA
everything
weather
else.
by you is kind of wild.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna relax. It's Sunday and get back to work on Monday.
Yeah, spend the weekend. I'm going to Brooklyn. I got a little event I got to go to and have a good old time. But first, I got to finish up some stuff here at home. Who's going in the draft? Who is it? Wembanyama or someone's making some dumb decisions to take Scoot Henderson for the first pick?
Nah, they're not taking Scoot. That'd be
Smart guy. I
stupid.
love Scoot Henderson. So let's so CM Punk's getting cheered beyond compare tonight.
I think it's gonna be a mix of cheers and boos.
I expect no. It'll be cheers from me. That's all I gotta say.
It'll be cheers and boos. I think. I think it's gonna be a
All right,
mix.
kid. I will talk to you next time. I will see you next week for our next episode.
All right, later.
Oh, and by the way, Soto, happy birthday to your pops.
Oh, word. Yeah.
First and I cannot forget about that. Shout out to our third member of the podcast, the Wiz Kid Edgar Soto, Master General. Pops' birthday today. Shout out to you.
Yep,
Enjoy it.
definitely.
All right, kid.
All right, later, man.